Alrighty guys, another comparison. We have now Forza 60B, Forza 60B Mark II just released. I'm going to show you what's the difference between the two of these, why you should potentially upgrade to the Forza 60B Mark II, or why you should get the Forza 60B. All about it, what I think of it, I've been using it over the last few months, and I think this is pretty damn... Right, so now if you've been following me for a while, you know that I absolutely love bicolored fixtures. I'm nearly converted my whole lighting kit into bicolor fixtures, and the reason I've done that is because it's just so easy to use on set. But honestly, the convenience of having a bicolor fixture and not having to use gels honestly has saved me so much time, especially if you're a kind of like solo or very small crew operator. Having bicolor fixtures will save you so much time. So some minor upgrades to the Forza 60B Mark II is that we now have concealed screws on the front. It's just obviously a bit of more of an aesthetic thing. It just looks much nicer. I'm not sure if it actually affects the way that the reflector actually works or how the beam focuses, but that is a little aesthetic thing that we have. The more noticeable upgrades are definitely on the back button. So we now have a mode button, which honestly makes going through the menu so much easier. Like the Forza 60B, the menu system was a bit better compared to the Forza 60, still very clunky, and half the time, you know, you'd knock the wrong knob and then it would go into a strobe effect, and you just have like this strobe effect going in the talent's face, and it wasn't ideal. So by having a mode button, that no longer happens, and it's a much more intuitive interface. They've now also added a DMX port as well. So I don't currently have the half DMX cable to adapt it to a full DMX cable to actually test this out, but it's something that I'm really wanting to kind of get into and start using a bit more. It basically just means that, you know, you have all that control on the app and you can do it wirelessly, but by using a DMX cable, you just have way more control over doing multiple things at the same time. So I guess like if you wanted to, you know, dim it and also change the CCT or the color, you can do that much easier than trying to use the app where you can't really do two things at once. In terms of size, they're basically identical. The only thing that's going to change is the new, where is it? The only thing that's going to change is the new reflector dish. This is going to technically make it smaller. So let me chuck this on. So this is the new 45-degree reflector dish that replaces this one, which does actually make the unit a little bit smaller. And it also means that now you can basically have this in the kit, and you can have a reflector dish and also an additional thing. So basically how I set up my Forza 60B case is I now have this reflector dish because it will fit in there, but I also have the Fresnel, the FL11 Fresnel, and also a V-Lock battery handle, and that all fits within the one case, which means that I can use this on power, I can use it with a Fresnel, or I can use it on batteries as well, all in that one case, which is so good. Nanlite has also now upgraded the Forza 60B with a constant output mode. So if you have never used a bicolor fixture before, you may have noticed that sometimes when you go through the color range, it can kind of go up brighter and dimmer depending on, I guess, how many chips are being used. But basically what they've done is they've added a constant mode, which means that it's gonna dim the brightest areas of the curve as it's kind of going through that color, and it's going to be consistent. So if you are doing any sort of, you know, color change, it means that the brightness isn't going to increase or decrease. It'll stay consistent throughout the whole range, no matter what color it's on. Plus now, apparently the Forza 60B 2 is actually brighter. Now, I think that might be because of this new reflector dish. It's just a much more efficient system, or potentially could be brighter, but in all my experiences, it's bright enough for most things. And the main way that I actually use this is as a hair light, because it's just so small, so portable, and you can basically place it anywhere. But also I utilize this with the 60 centimeter softbox, and I just use it for content around my house, around the shoots and stuff, because like having this on a V-Lock battery handle with a 60 centimeter softbox is such a small and portable system. And on a 99 watt hour V-Lock battery, you can get, you know, roughly an hour and a half of full power, which you typically don't need because you can get it pretty close to a subject if you're filming them. But it means that it's a super portable system where you can film a ton of content and light stuff up really easily and just kind of hand hold it and get it in there where we need it. Such a good system. Now, if you already own the Forza 60B, I probably wouldn't upgrade to this because there's not that much of a step up in terms of like upgrading from this Mark 1 to the Mark 2. However, if you're looking at getting a super portable tiny light that can literally fit in the palm of your hand, weighs next to nothing, and be used on battery power and used basically anywhere, this is, I haven't actually found a better option than this. This thing is so good. It's rugged, it's super solid, like it's made of metal. It just works and it's just so good. And again, having that bicolor option, honestly, I use this so much. Like the Forza 300B is probably my most used light. Forza 60B Mark II would have to be my next used light because it's just so versatile, so good. Like right up here, this one here. This is an FS60B, which is essentially the same as this. It's just one that just runs on power, so I can use it in my studio all the time. But again, they're just so versatile, so portable. And like this Mark II is only gonna send you back $319 US, which is just so cheap for the output you get out of this. Like if you compare it to other 60 watt lights, it just blows them out of the water. I'm not sure exactly what sorcery goes into these to make them so bright, but they are just insanely bright. But anyway guys, I could talk all day about how good these tiny little lights are, but if you did like this video, consider liking and subscribing to the channel. If you want to find out any more about this or where to buy it, click the link in the bio below. Otherwise, stay creative, just be you, and we'll see you on the next one.